Hello, Tom here once again. Welcome back to my channel. This is about the fifth time I've tried to record this video, so I'm just going to go with it this time. And if anyone interrupts me, any cars go past, I'm just going to have to deal with it. So, what's the point of this video? Well, you can probably see over my right shoulder, that is my Royal Enfield Interceptor. It's a bike I have had for about a year now, and I don't ride it very often because I like to keep it for when the weather's nice. Me living in the UK, that's not very often, so it doesn't really get ridden that much. I tend to ride my my commuter bikes a lot more. So my GPZ 305 when I had that, my Suzuki Inazuma when I had that, and now my Yamaha Phaser, they tend to get ridden more often than my Royal Enfield. It's my nice weather bike, if you will. But again, as I say, we don't get a lot of nice weather in the UK, so it doesn't really get ridden that much. And as I say, I've owned this bike for about a year now, so I thought I'd do a kind of a year in review, or a year of ownership, kind of state of the nation, state of the bike, if that makes sense. I have seen quite a few videos recently about Royal Enfield Interceptors where the owner has had an issue, or they're not happy with the bike. I am very happy with the Interceptor. I haven't had any issues with it. I've made some modifications to it. I've made a few changes to it, and I'll talk about those in this video. But for the most part, it's been completely trouble-free. You know, it's only done about 4,000 miles from new. It's a 2021 model, and yeah, I've not really had any major problems with it. So we'll take a look at the bike. I'll talk about some of the modifications I've made to the bike, and also there have been a few little issues with it, but nothing really major, if that makes sense. So let's go and have a look at the bike. Okay, here is the Royal Enfield. It's the Crush Orange. If you've seen my previous video about this bike, it was again about a year ago that I made the video. You may remember, or may not remember, that I lamented about these engine covers being sort of a matte, a brushed metal, not polished. Well, I got the old drill out and some metal polish, and I polished those up, and I think they came out quite nice. I have to do them every now and then because they do get a bit tarnished, but for the most part they look pretty good. I haven't done the rocker cover at the top just because I can't really get the drill onto it. I'm not really that bothered about the top of the engine because you can't really see it. But the engine cover and on the other side as well, I have done those and polished them up nicely. So yeah, that was just a quick talk about that. So yeah, before I get on to what I've done to the bike, I guess I should talk about reliability. It's never missed a beat. It starts on the button. I've never had any mechanical issues with it. When I bought the bike, it didn't have this kind of fender extender on it. I bought this on the internet, and it didn't come with any fixing, so I had to make these screws myself. I got some screws from B&Q, and I cut them off so they wouldn't hit the tyre, and then I screwed them on, and yeah, it looks great. Don't know why it didn't come with the fender extender, and I thought they came with that as standard, but obviously the previous owner didn't want that on there, so it didn't come with it. A few cheap little things like the fork protectors here, just to protect against some stones. I always buy these whenever I get a new bike, because it only takes one chip and then your forks are screwed, so just make that straight. Some of the things on this bike were done by the previous owner, which I mentioned in my last video about the bike. So the screen on the front, that was done by the previous owner. This kind of sort of squashy thing on the handlebars, that was done by the previous owner. The heated grips, previous owner. Sump guard, previous owner. Crash bars, previous owner. But I've done some things. I spoke about these in my video that was just about these things. So I put a new seat cover on it because the standard stock seat is really hard and it's not very comfortable after a while. So I got this from the Raw and Rugged Leather Company, or Enfield Accessories, alongside the brown leather tank pads. I also had some kind of saddlebag things on here, but I found after a while that because they stuck out so much, they actually were quite uncomfortable to actually have on the bike while I was riding it. So I took them off and they're in the cupboard at home. But they are still quality items, so worth looking at if you're interested in that kind of thing. One of the worst things about the Interceptor I've found is that the servicing intervals are very short. Basically, every 6 months you have to have either a big service, inverted commas, where the garage does the valve clearances, or a small service where they just do basically like a visual check of it. I know you can do the valve clearances yourself, and it's a very easy job. But in order to keep the warranty, I'm just following Royal Enfield's instructions, getting the stamps in the book, just in case anything goes wrong with it. Once the 3 years is up, once the warranty is up, I'll probably just do it myself. But for now, I'm paying slightly through the nose even, to have that done. It's actually just had its first major service the day before yesterday, in fact. And that was at a place in the New Forest, which is a Royal Enfield dealership. I'll put some footage up here. They do have a lot of Royal Enfield stuff there. And so I had it serviced, and I had the valve clearances done and the oil changed. I didn't have the air filter done because I'd put my own air filter in, which is a K&N air filter, a K&N performance air filter. I haven't done the snorkel delete, as they call it, where you take the thing that holds the air filter in and like remove that and just have it open, because I don't really see the point. So I put the snorkel back on, and yeah, the K&N air filter apparently gives like 42% more air into the engine. Whether or not that's accurate, I don't know. I've not really noticed much of a difference in terms of power, but it works just fine. So that's that. I suppose the two major things I've done to this bike are that I have replaced the stock exhaust end cans, and also the struts, the suspension struts at the back, with parts from Tech. You can see there it says Tech bike parts. Get off, fly. Go away. Tech bike parts, because the standard struts on the Interceptor are appalling, in my opinion. A couple of months ago I noticed that the bike just didn't feel right. And if you're a motorcyclist, you'll know what I mean. When you get on the bike and you feel like you've got a puncher, for example, the back end is like wobbling about, and it just doesn't feel secure and safe. And that's the issue I was having. And I did some research online, and I found that one of the culprits for this is the stock struts on the bike, which they're not great. I mean, they do the job, but they're not brilliant. Anyway, I whipped those off, put these ones on from Tech bike parts, and it just transforms the ride. They're so much better than the stock. The end cans, the silencers here, these are called Canon silencers. They're also from Tech bike parts, and they are simply slip-ons. As the name suggests, you slip the old ones off, the stock ones, and slip these ones on, and it's as simple as that. The stock silencers are massive on the Interceptor, and they're really heavy. They're surprisingly heavy. When you take them off and put some aftermarket ones on like these, which are super light, it completely changes the dynamics of the bike, the way it rides, the sort of the stability of it. It sounds daft, but it really does make a difference. Getting those horrible massive end cans off. One thing I will say about the Tech bike parts silencers is, if you get some of these and you get the removable baffles, make sure you tighten them up properly. I thought I had done, but I lost one, which was really annoying, so I've had to order another one. And in order to keep the bike rideable and not super loud, I've had to get these horrible ones off Amazon. As you can see, they're not aesthetically pleasing in any way, but they do work. They were $6.99 each, and I just put these in as a temporary measure until my replacement one comes from Tech bike parts. They are pretty good usually at sending stuff out quite quickly, so they should be with me in the next few days, I would imagine. So yeah, Tech bike parts, silencers and suspension struts, definitely worth doing. This join sort of hider here is an additional extra, and I bought that because of the fact that the stock downpipes are kind of chrome finished, almost polished. Well, they are polished, and the end cans are brushed. I just thought it looked really weird if it was just a sudden change, so I got these to hide the join. And what I am planning on doing in the future is I am planning on replacing the stock downpipes with some From Tech bike parts, which are also brushed, and they're also a bigger diameter, so apparently they enhance the performance of the bike. I'll see if that happens when they come, or when they're back in stock when I get some. Also, the reason for me wanting to change these stock downpipes is that around these cooling fins here, they've already started to rust. It's not a lot of rust, it's just a little bit of surface rust, but it doesn't look very nice, and it almost hints at the cheapness of the materials used by Royal Enfield, probably to keep the cost of the bike down in the first place. So I will be getting some of the big bore downpipes. Apparently these are sort of double walled, and inside the pipe is actually smaller, whereas the Tech Bike Park ones are just single skin all the way through. And apparently they don't have a catalytic converter in them either, so it allows you to have more power, apparently. I'd also like to get a better oil cooler protector, because this stock one it's fine, it does the job, but it doesn't actually protect the sides of the oil cooler, whereas there's several online that you can get that actually do protect the sides of the oil cooler as well. So I will be investing in one of those when I have the money to spare. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I think, in terms of things I've done to the bike and things I want to do to the bike. It's been very reliable. I've said this before in the video, I've only done about 4,000 miles on this, so you'd imagine it is going to be mechanically fine and serviceable, but none of the problems I've seen other people on YouTube have with the Royal Enfield Interceptor yet. Touch wood, I don't have those issues. Another thing I want to get sorted is the tyres. The stock tyres that come on these bikes are not the best, and I've been advised by several people to change them for some something like an Avon Road Rider or some kind of higher quality tyre, because the stock Pirellis, they're fine, but you can get better ones, so I'll probably do that in the future. Otherwise, styling wise, I don't think there's much else I'm going to do to the bike. I probably won't change the indicators, and I don't really like those kind of weird LED front lights that you can get, especially ones with the Royal Enfield logo on them. But as it stands, I think it looks okay as it is. Hello. Yeah, don't you love it when you say hello to somebody and they just completely mug you off and ignore you? Anyway, yes, that's the Interceptor. That's pretty much all I've got to say about the bike. I love it, it's great, and I will continue to ride it and cherish it, and keep it for when the weather's nice. The sun's coming out now, so I might go for a bit of a longer ride, although there is a slightly ominous cloud over yonder. Anyway, that's enough about this bike. And if you own an Enfield, what do you think about it? Have you had any issues with it? Let me know. Put some stuff in the comments. I always like reading them, even though I'm quite slow to respond to them, because to be honest with you, I forget that I also make stuff sometimes on YouTube. I spend a lot of time on YouTube watching other people's stuff and commenting on it, but I forget that I also make stuff and people comment on my stuff. So yeah, if you do want to leave a comment, do feel free. Anyway, I hope the sound on this video has come out okay, and thank you very much for watching. I will leave you now with this nice lingering shot of my Royal Enfield. Bye.